Thank you. That was my opening act. You always got to warm up the crowd with that. I love that guy. Yeah. So. Thank you. I love the sombrero over there. It's great. You guys have great Mexican food too. Yeah, when I got here, the first thing they're like, oh, you're from the Southwest. Have you gone to the Mexican restaurant here? And I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, I went. Then I went to McDonald's. That was a mistake. I don't know why I was surprised. McDonald's is shit everywhere. But I did notice something that was not in the States, and that was the Nacho Jr. No, don't cheer that. No. What have you done? No. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy in a second, but I have to get this straight right now, okay? No. Okay. Nacho Jr. I'd hate to see the Nacho Senior. Because this shit has to stop. Okay, few things. One, you cannot call it a nacho anything if it doesn't have cheese. By definition, it's not nachos if there's no cheese. Nacho cheese. Hello? Okay. Two, it's not nachos if there's mayonnaise. It's wrong! It's disgusting. It's fucking got mayonnaise on it. It's a betrayal to nachos. Nacho Jr. Please tell me that's not what you think happens in Mexico. No, actually, please tell me that's not what you think happens in, like, the Southwest. That's not what, like, I'm American, and then, like, we're, like, next to Mexico, and so, like, okay, like, the Americans go, like, okay, we got cheeseburgers, and we got burritos, we got this plate of nachos here, and then we're like, okay. We're watching the Cowboys game, and we're like, hang on a second. No. And actually, the one next to the Mexican restaurant I went to did it right, because they had burgers, but they put nacho cheese on it, which was great. Anyway, no. And the thing is, it was number one on the list. It was meal number one. You should be sorry. And it's not your fault. It's not Finland's fault. No, it didn't start here. I know that. It's McDonald's, and you need to kick them out. They took advantage of you, and you didn't know better. They came in here all dressed nice, and you were young, and you didn't know what you were doing, and yeah, right, and they bought you some drinks, and they were like, all of a sudden they just moved in, and then Nacho Jr. happened. Okay, Final Fantasy, that's why you came here. I've insulted your culture and McDonald's. I'm insulting McDonald's, not you, and I will never recover from mayonnaise on a nacho burger. There's tortilla chips on the burger! Ah! I'm done. That's it for me. I'm out of enough. Okay, no. Okay, you know what? You know what really bothers me about Final Fantasy lately? Oh, no. I like Final Fantasy. I love Final Fantasy, which is why it pisses me off. Snow? No, Final Fantasy. Why the fuck is there no Final Fantasy VII HD available? What the fuck is going on? What? No! Apparently they hate money, yes. Because what do? Like, okay, it's like, this keeps happening. Recently, what's just happened? They released Final Fantasy VII on Steam, and I don't know if, like, I know you have this, but it's on PC. They just released this. They released it, like, okay, Final Fantasy VII. Everyone fucking downloaded it, and I don't know why you did that. But, like, it's just like they re-released the PC port, the shitty PC port. And it's not just the PC port, they tinkered with it to give it shittier music. And you get to play it with the shitty PC controls. So you bought the same version you had on PlayStation, because you all probably have the PlayStation, but now you're playing it with worse controls and shittier music. It was a later one, but crap. Good job! So, and yet everyone's like, you paid for it because you're like, we hope it'll be better, and I hope I'll like it even more. This is like your 30th playthrough, right? You're just like, you could have booted up the PlayStation version, but you're just like, I love it so much, I want it to be good, I just wanted why is there no HD version? Yeah, and that's exactly my point, is like every time they bring us a new one, they don't give us the one we want. They go, okay, we're gonna release a new Final Fantasy game, and we're like, yes, which one is it? And they're like, Final Fantasy X. Why? Final Fantasy X, no! I mean, it was okay, but... We don't want that shit. And then they're like, okay, we're going to announce another one. And we're like, Final Fantasy VIII. Yeah, triple triad. Woo! In HD. And you know what? That's a step in the right direction, but that's not the one we want! I just don't get what the fuck. I don't get it. Why is it they never release the ones we want? The ones that are good? You know, and you know what, 10, as much as I bitched about 10, okay, I give you that one, it's okay, but like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, they put 7 out on the PlayStation Network, okay, fine. They gave us 7 on Steam, okay, fine. It sucks, it's the PC port. I don't know why you'd bother, because if you bought 7 on the PC port, you probably have it on the PlayStation, so just play it on that. But okay, fine. If you don't, you bought it on Steam. The music sucks, but you can mod it. I don't know, whatever. But the thing is, like, then what do? Final Fantasy 13, 3. Wait. This was the cherry on the fucking cake. Have you seen this? They announced DLC for Lightning Returns. Now they go, here's a new costume you can download for Lightning. They say, now you can dress Lightning as Cloud. And you can have her swing the Buster Sword. And they have a little picture, a big picture actually, of Lightning in the Cloud suit with the little Buster Sword. And I'm like, you motherfuckers. And I'm like, how fucking desperate is this? You know, like, because the series isn't selling, the series sucks. And that's not just me, okay? This is not just me being like, nobody's buying this series. Nobody. But the series Goodwill is gone. You know, this is, you know, I'm just kicking a dead horse at this point. You know, this is why even I'm kind of done with the series, because everyone knows at this point, nobody's really behind the series. So this is really just kind of, you know, that desperate ex just calling you, please take me back, I'll do anything you want. What is it? What do I have to do, please? Who did you like better? Was it Final Fantasy VIII? Was it 7, please? I can be that person, I'll dress like her. Was it Cloud? I can dress like Cloud. I'll do anything. They are banking so hard on your nostalgia. They will dress Lightning like a whore. Not like a slut, not like in a bikini, although they did that in 10-2. When they sold like separate DLC bikinis for Sarah for no fucking reason other than just to like watch, you know, titties. But like, no, they will whore themselves to be like, look, Cloud, just purely to be like, to tickle that pleasure center in your brain. Like, I liked Final Fantasy VII. I have to buy this. It's jingling keys in front of your cat. That's all it is. It's not like it'll make the game any better. You're just like, she's dressed as Cloud. That's it. It's so pointless. You know, it's so pathetic. And I just don't get why they're so opposed to making money. Like, what's the problem? It's almost like they hate you. Okay. When the PlayStation 3 was first announced, when it was first coming out, what was the number one question that everybody asked when it first came out? Will Final Fantasy VII be on it? Nope. Yeah, exactly. We got a tech demo. Remember that? They showed you this HD trailer. They showed the opening cinematic for Final Fantasy VII, right? It was in HD, it was beautiful. Everyone in the fucking world who saw it got a foot-long steel boner. Even the women got the girl boner. Yeah. And they were like, when's it coming out? And they're like, what was the fucking point of that? Trolling. But what? Trolling? Why? Because really, no, like what's no, but like because they can. What? I don't get it. But no, that doesn't make any sense. There's no reason other than like fucking Satan runs the company. Like it's printing money. The game is made. It's done. All you have to do, literally all you have to do, is assign the game to an art department. A month later, the game is done. That's it. I know, like, you don't even need to pay anybody. Exactly. You could go like, okay, let's, like, you could turn this loose on fans. You know? You could crowdsource this and be like, okay, let's get 100 fans. Like, any fans out there want to, like, just, you know, re-render the backgrounds and do some 3D models for every one of the characters and monsters. I guarantee you within a month this game is done. The game is done. At worst the expenses, you bring in some voice actors. That's a week's worth of work. You're not even spending any money. What? I don't get it. I don't... Other than sheer contempt and hatred for you, does this happen? I don't... Can you think of anything other than like, ew, money? Ew! This is what I truly don't understand about Square Enix's business model. But if they hate Final Fantasy, why do they keep making them? But to make more money, like they're losing money on this.
They want to hit Final Fantasy. They are making Final Fantasy.
But
maybe they're just fucking stupid.
But they're a bit stupid is given. The fact that but like, now Final Fantasy 14 is a completely different story altogether. But like, because they're losing money, oh man, Jesus, are they losing money on Final? Do you have any idea how much it costs to run an international MMO? No, you don't. But trust me, I don't have any idea. But wow, it would blow my mind. It's a lot, I would tell you that. But I mean, that was so bad. They had to apologize for it. No, then they did, and that's unprecedented. Like, that's the equivalent business-wise of like, that's huge. Like seriously, they were salarymen hurling themselves out of windows over that one. That was, and that's in beta now, isn't it? Yeah. So now before you start on me, I'll give it a try. Because if they think that's good enough to be in beta, hey, because it was a fucking disaster before. You know, and that was another one where like, that was such a colossal failure on every conceivable level. Like, they took everything that you would think would be a given on, you know, an MMO design, like the auction house, things that you couldn't think they could fuck up. Have you seen what they did with the auction house? Okay. The auction house is that thing in World of Warcraft where you would go there and you would buy things. Duh. So like if you wanted a sword, you would go in there and there's a search box and you would type sword. And it would search everyone who was selling a sword and it would list all of the swords. Simple, yes. Okay, so in Final Fantasy 14, there's no search box. Okay, you would go there, there'd be this market square, and there'd be 300 guys. And you'd have to walk up to every one of them. Do you have a sword? And the guy would be like, yes. And he'd show you all of his swords. And you'd be like, I don't want any of those. Do you have a sword? 300 goddamn times! Because every character in that game had their little minion, like a merchant. And you're like, how do you screw that up? You know, so like that's why the game got taken offline. There was a fun limit. You could only advance so far per day. So, you know, there was an experience point, it would tail off. You know, you could only, through adventuring, you know, you can only basically progress so far in the game per day. It was ridiculous. It's hard to even comprehend. I can't even comprehend it. So, like, you can only do so much crafting per day, and then it was to kind of limit how far so silly. And so that's why it was, you know, it didn't look, the terrain was copy-pasted. Because if you ran straight forward in a line, the terrain would repeat like every 20 seconds. It was so lazy, you know, and so that's why they had to retool it. I think it's like 2-3 years later, they're just now getting ready to, you know, beta. Wow. You know, that's so ludicrous, but you know, it's really, really weird. I don't even know now what Final Fantasies, have they done, on the DS anyway, have they done like 4 and 6, like what's widely considered to be the best ones, right? So 4, I remember, okay, 4 is out on the DS, right? Is 6? Okay, I remember 4, in which they introduced that nightmarish fucking pixie. You remember that? Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, be glad, because they're like, there's this little, it's like this, remember that flea in Twilight Princess? Imagine that, except it's white and comes from hell. And you draw its face, yeah. And it serves, it looks like if you pulled one of your teeth out and it started like talking and then anyway. But yeah, 6. No 6. Huh? What's 3? Yeah, well, yeah, 3 and 4. Like, what the fuck? It's the best one. Huh? Yeah, and iPhones in it, but like, why the best ones? 6 and 7. Can you fucking explain that? Like, saving for what?
For when 15 bombs.
Like, what? It's like them and George Lucas. But the thing is, George Lucas even released the original trilogy. He fucked with them. He fucked it up, but at least he gave you them. Like if Square released Final Fantasy VII and fucked it up, at least you had them. Like, let's say he gave you Cloud, or let's say he gave you Final Fantasy VII, but instead of he changed the ending, where I don't even know, how would they fuck up the ending to Final Fantasy VII? Okay, here comes spoilers. I don't know, rocks fall, everybody dies, or let's come up with a new ending to 7 here. Let's do Eris is just fucking spoil the whole thing. So Eris dies, lol. This is fun. It was an illusion. Okay, wait. So let's see. What did they change? Okay, no. Okay, let's say Final Fantasy VII, same thing, except they voice Kate Sith like Jar Jar Binks. Oh, Cloud! Let's go to Golden Salsa. It's a long way on Bongo. You'd be like, oh, Jesus. You'd be like, wow, they fucked that up. But at least you had Final Fantasy VII. They couldn't even give us that much. Now fucking could they? I think I set the building on fire. Or at least I think Satan has come to claim me at last. Begone, Beelzebub! Square Enix, they've heard me and has come to take me away. I don't, but yeah, it's like even George Lucas has a better business model, and oh my God! Why can't they're the best games, and it's guaranteed money. This isn't difficult. I don't understand any of this. Can you even get the basic? I think you can get the basic games on PSN. Can you 6? You can? Okay. At least you got that. But I remember they've done nothing on the DS for 6 even. It's fucking ridiculous. But 7 was always the sticking point, by far the best one. Or no, well, not okay. I would disagree on the best one, but by far the most enduring, the most probably the most iconic. because it was like the one that, it's kind of, that and Metal Gear Solid defined the PlayStation, the PS1, you know, because that was the one, when you saw that one, it was unlike anything you'd seen from the series, you know. That was so weird, and that was really what 13 was kind of meant to be. You know, you saw that one and you're like, wow, this is so weird. You know, it was really meant to draw you in. The game was a piece of shit, though. Wow, just can't believe that. Just incredible how they just it just repels them, you know, and it burns the goodwill. It's amazing. Anyway, I'm not sure how much time I have left, especially since I've been ranting. Oh, wow. Hey, you, monkey. How much time do I have left? My phone is useless. I'm on the other side of the world. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what year it is. I've gone into the future. Yeah. So, how much time do I have? I have half an hour? Wow! I could bitch way more. But enough about Final Fantasy VII. No more Nacho Jr. Although, that was... Huh? What? That's not Final Fantasy. What's up?
Have you ever tried playing Final Fantasy X, the original one?
The first one?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really hard to find.
I did a review of the first one. Did you see that one?
I remember it too, but I meant that.
You've seen them, right? Get out. Yes, I've seen the first one. That one had time compression too, where the guy goes back in time and makes a time loop, and I don't know. That guy had really a strange plan, and I don't know why that dragon wanted a rat tail. Could have gotten that anywhere, really. I always liked Final Fantasy Tactics because I could never get past the first quarter of it. Because I was a kid and I didn't really know what I was doing. So you'd be cruising through the first quarter of it, and then you'd reach that point. You know what I'm talking about? That fight where you're like, I'm playing and this is fun, and I'm making my characters and I'm having fun, and then it goes, okay, playtime's over. And then it just fucking kills you, right? Okay, if you don't know what I mean, Final Fantasy Tactics is a completely different game from the rest of the Final Fantasy series, where it's kind of top down and it's much more strategic, where you kind of move your characters around. It's tactics, you know. So the thing is, it's like the first 3 or 4 hours or so are like tutorials. So you can kind of choose your characters' classes, and you train them in their jobs, and you learn their abilities, and you equip them, and it's very relaxed. It's very easygoing. Once that's done, it's Thunderdome. It'll fuck. Well, no, it doesn't get beyond that. No, it'll fucking crush you. If you were fucking around before that, no. And so, like, man, it's brutal. So, like, as a kid, you don't know that. Like, I'm sitting around there, I'm playing this game, and I've got, like, a dancer, I've got, like, a bard, I've got a thief, and I've got an archer, and it's like, you poor son of a bitch. If you weren't playing this seriously from the beginning, you are so hosed. It was also a really unique game in that you're kind of meant to cheat. You know what I mean? Like that. You remember the calculator class? I don't know if it translated or not, but like the calculator is kind of one of those things where you're kind of meant to exploit the number system. So like if you did it properly, you would just eradicate things on the first turn. It was really, really strange. You would beat people with the power of math. I'm not kidding, that you would. The guy would like whip out a calculator and be like, you've been divided. It was really weird. I don't know. I could never get past that first part. Oh, I never beat Final Fantasy VII. Did you know that? I never did. It's not my fault. It wasn't my fault. Fuck you. I will explain myself.